Hello, my name is Michael
Okay,
Hansen.
here comes the 12:22 to 12:23 time frame.
Alright. I'm just going to retract the arms like this. We're going to hear a lot of chatter when this
The
is
swing
done.
arm now coming back to its fully retracted position
So my name
as
is
our
Michael
countdown
Hansen,
continues.
and this is going to be sort of a
4 minutes, 50 seconds and counting.
interesting video
the
because
astronauts
it's
that
going to be
the
sort of
swing
a
arm now
partly
coming back. The astronauts will have a few more
flat Earth
reports
video
coming up in the countdown.
and partly
The last
simulator
business report
video.
will be from Neil Armstrong at the 45
One of the
second
things
mark
that
in
I've
the
heard
count when he gives the status on the final alignment of the stabilization
quite a lot
and control
from
system.
Denmark,
We're now
in
passing
Denmark
the 4 minute 30 seconds.
from flat Earthers
Mark
in
in the
Denmark is
countdown,
that
still go
when
at
they
this
look
time.
at images of rockets being launched, space shuttles, and
4 minutes,
Falcon
15
heavy
seconds. The test
rocket,
supervisor now is informed
the
launch vehicle
question
test
and
conductor
the
Norm
images they
Carlson, you are go
show
for
this
launch.
rocket
From
going
this
up
time
and then
down,
arcing out,
Carlson
sort of a level
handles the
flight, and it
countdown as the
almost
launch
looks like
vehicle
it's dipping
begins
down.
to build up. We're now hitting the 4
Sorry,
minute
I
mark.
just hit
4
the
minutes,
microphone.
4 minutes
It looks
and
like it's
counting.
dipping
We are
down
go for Apollo 11. We'll go on
to
an
hit the
automatic
Earth again.
sequence starting
And
at
in this
3
video
minutes
I'm
and
going to
7
show two
seconds.
different things. The first thing I'm going to show is what actually happens when we
3 minutes, 45
simply
seconds
just let
and
the
counting.
rocket
And
go
the final,
straight up into the air. So
abort
I'm going to
checks
start the
between
engines
several
now.
key members of the crew here in the control
The
center
people that
and
are
the
talking now, they're
astronauts.
going to
Launch
shut up, and you can
operations
see the
manager Paul Donnelly wish the crew
the
on
fueling
the
arms
launch
just
team's
going
behalf good luck and
to
Godspeed.
go besides it. But it's not here to show
2
an
minutes,
accurate
25 seconds and
demonstration
counting.
on
We'll still
how
go at this
the
time.
Apollo program
We'll
was
be coming
launched.
up
It's
in the
merely to
automatic
show
sequence
what
about
happens when you
10 or
launch a
15
rocket
seconds
straight
from
up.
this time.
So let's go. I'm going to switch to the cockpit view for just a short second. As you can see, we're going at 90 degrees. That is straight up. And all of these stages on the Saturn V rocket are automated. So going straight up, we're just going to go through the stages, and then we're going to see what happens. Now naturally, I know what's going to happen, because the reason why rockets arc out or look like they're going in a straight path along the curve of the Earth, or along the Earth, instead of going straight up, just going to check the... yeah, we're still going straight, is that they're trying to get into an orbit. We're not trying to get the rocket into space, essentially. That part is easy enough. But we're trying to get the rocket into an orbit. If we simply don't have rockets that are powerful enough to shoot out in a straight arc. It's not like in the Star Trek movies,
And how about a right waist tether to the
or
4
something like
DIAD
that,
ring?
where they can sort of just fly the Enterprise straight
Thank
up
you.
from the Earth, out of the atmosphere, and then out into space. Our engines, even a rocket as powerful as the Saturn V, didn't have the necessary thrust to go straight out into space. Also, it's a bit silly, because we're not taking advantage of the gravitational pull of the Earth. Going into orbit gives us a tremendous velocity increase. I'm going to see, we can look at the velocity here. I'm just going to get this HUD here to be orbit. So you can see this is our orbital path. And this gray outline here is the Earth, and this is our orbital path, and we're just going almost straight up, as you can see.
And board cutoff.
We're following the 90-degree arc here pretty nicely. Now, I haven't actually flied this Apollo 5. Sorry, this is not Apollo 5. This is the Apollo 11 mission that much, so I don't know actually how it's going to fold out. I know that what's going to happen. Now you can see we are going to have a
Ignition.
separation, and then we have ignition of the 5 new engines. I can show you the engines by just panning the camera a bit down like this. You can see them here. 5 engines, right? So we're still going, as you can see, straight out into space. We have our main propulsion in here.
We got skirt step. Roger, we confirm skirt
So
step.
now we are just remove that part there.
Tower's gone. Roger,
The
tower.
tower is away. It's going to probably come straight back into our face because we are thrusting and it is not. Let's see, still 90 degrees. Yeah, almost. So you can see it's going back into Earth. Now, at this moment, I would argue that it doesn't take that much imagination to figure out what will happen when our rocket here is out of fuel. I'm also making this series here in order to show you exactly what is going to happen, because this is something that is also being questioned a lot by flat earthers, is that how do they actually get, you can see this is the module that they see, and this is the command module, and this is the service module, and the question always is, how do they get the lunar excursion model onto the command module, because obviously you can't see it. And the first thing I'm going to say is what they're going to do is that when this stage here separates and this stage, we finally have the command module and the service module here. They separate here, and then this is turned around. You can see the thrusters, RCS thrusters here. We turn this around. I'm going to show you a model of the actual cockpit. I'm going to go into the pilot's seat, and I'm going to show you here. You see this reticle here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Camera, field of view, and then just going to go all the way in. As you can see, we have this reticle here, right? It's hard to see because it's shaky, but this is what we want to look through. And obviously I can't show you this here, simply because, let's just get it back to 50, simply because we're going straight out into space. But when we get this separation, there's a little marker on the lunar excursion model that you are trying to follow with this reticle in here, and so you line up the command service module with this reticle on the lunar excursion module, and then you simply attach this little arm you can see out here into a hole in the LEM, as I'm going to call it from now on because that's easier. And as that is done, there is a locked seal between the LEM and the command and service module, so the pilots or the astronauts can go from one part to the other. And that is actually, if you have seen the movie Apollo 13, you would know that they're actually using the LEM here, sitting out here, to survive in that. So they are simply powering everything down in the command and service module, and then using the LEM as a surviving box, or whatever you want to call it. But
Board cutoff.
when we get to the final stage separation, you can see exactly how this is going out. I'm just going to switch back to this here because I'm going to see, oh yeah, there's not much time before we're going to separate the next stage. And as you can see, our velocity is increasing, and we are out to about 600, almost 700 kilometers, I think it is, in altitude. Alright, so and you can see here on the orbital HUD here, you can see exactly what we wanted to have was this green line here to sort of go all the way around the Earth, so we have an orbit. But instead we're just going to shoot straight out into space, and we're actually following this pretty well at this moment. Let's go back to the outside view. Now this is Orbiter 2010 because this this mod here doesn't work to 2016, but graphically wise, particularly with the clouds, the 2016 is definitely preferred. So yeah, but let's see what happens when we run out of fuel for the... As you can see, we're actually a pretty good distance up, and as far as where we started, actually also we have a pretty good pretty good lineup with where we started. So now we get the final separation, and we're just going to burn this engine completely crazy. Let's see how much fuel we got in there. We got some. I might be cutting out some bits and pieces of this video in order to speed up things, but at the moment I'm going to follow this video completely through. Now the next video I'm going to be making will be how we actually should do this. So this video here would be sort of a how not to do things, and the next video would be how to actually do things. So yeah. As you can see, this orbit we have here, it's not sort of pointing straight out into space. So what this hot MFD here is telling us is that even doing it like this, even shooting straight out into space as we're doing now.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are confirmed to go for orbit.
We are confirmed to go into orbit. Well, we are definitely not going into orbit, but nevertheless, what you're going to see here is that the Earth here might be getting smaller. This G here is probably, I would say it's not going to change, so as long as this G here is 1, we are within the influence of Earth. When this, if we were not, if this was 0, we could coast out into space just nice and slowly. But at this point we can't. Almost reaching the 50% marker on our fuel. We are almost going out into 2,000 kilometers in altitude. Now we are, as you can see, we're actually a pretty good distance away from the Earth. But still, there's only one way down from us when this engine here is finished, when we don't have enough fuel. One of the interesting things that you could test with this Apollo 13 mission here is whether this module here would actually be capable of reaching Mars. Now, obviously this module here is not protected and designed in going to Mars, but still it could be a pretty cool things to test. Yeah, but nevertheless I think we are almost out of fuel. Yeah, we are out of fuel, and I actually can't remember what key we used to separate us from this module here, but I'm just going to check it and then I'm going to get back to you. See you in a bit. Alright, welcome back. I think I figured it out. So apparently I'm going to press the J key. Yes. Now you can see we have jettisoned ourselves from the Lunar Excursion module. It is here, as you can see. And here's the little reticle that I talked about. This is what I can try to show you actually what I mean. So we are going to have to get, let's just do it here for the time being. Going to rotate us all the way around so we can see the LEM. So here's the LEM. Alright. Then I'm going to shift the cockpit. Go over to the pilot. No, we're not going to. Just going to take the field of view back to 50 degrees. Then I'm going to see if I can. Ah, there it is. So that's why I couldn't. Yeah, alright. And then let's check the field of view down. Alright. So let's try to align it. I'm only using the keypad on my that would be, and then I would get us closer. I can show you that I'm, oh sorry. Now you can see I'm out of alignment, but in any case I would use the, it's been a while since I've played around with this, but I would use the RCS thrusters to get closer to the LEM, connect with it, and then just get away. I'm going to, I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to cut a lot of details out of these videos. I'm just going to take the camera field of view back to 50, sort of like this. As you can see, there's quite a bit distance between us, even though if we look at through here, it looks like it's rather close, right? I'm going to cut some pieces of this video out, but what I really wanted you to see is that at some point our velocity would go down and we would go towards the Earth again. We could burn the main engine we have here, but as you can see, we don't have that much fuel. So while our velocity here remains positive, you can also see it by, let me just shift to rotational, take it here, and and then just shift us all the way around. See if I can find it somewhere. I probably can. Yeah, it's there. As long as this little reticule here is pointing towards space, we have positive velocity. You can also see it here, VS, meters per second. And our altitude is going up, as you can see here also. But our velocity is going down. And at some point, our velocity will go all the way down, and we will crash into the Earth once again. Now I'm going to fast forward the time. I'm going to cut off the part where I fast forward the time, so you don't have to bother with it. But as you can see here, the LEM and the third stage, or second stage, I can't remember. No, it's the third stage, are getting further and further away from us. So, yeah, it's not so good. I'm going to pause the recording here and then get back to you at the time where we're going to no, actually I'm going to show you when I'm going to warp time, as you can see. Hope it's Shift T that we go back. No, we can just do it here. Let's just get the main menu and then get time warp here. Let's keep it here. Alright, as you can see, velocity is quickly going down. We are at 16,000 kilometers altitude. We are really, actually really far out with respect to Earth. But as you can see, VS is going really fast down. If this were to remain constant, at some point we would go further into space, but we won't. As you can see, I'm trying to go to 100. Yeah. Let's go a little again. Yeah. 300, 200. And now our velocity is really increasing, as you can see, but negatively. We are coming down, and we are coming down really fast. Let's turn up the time, because I actually don't have this video is about to be getting too long, but I'm just going to show this. We probably will burn up into the atmosphere. We'll see what happens. I think when we get to sort of around 300 meters, 300 kilometers, 200 perhaps, we should begin to see, well, temperature increasement around the ship. You can see the auto module here, and you can see that our velocity is increasing really fast now. So let's take an outside view. Let's keep it there. I actually don't think that we need a time warp now, because you can see the altitude is decreasing really fast. So, but in any case, this is what would happen if we were to send a rocket straight out into space. It would go straight up, it would come to a halt, and then fall down again. So this is why when we send vehicles into space, whether it is the Saturn V rocket going to the moon, it is the what's it called, the late shuttles going to the ISS or deploying satellites and so on, or it is the new high-powered Falcon Heavy rocket or whatever it is, we are trying to get them into orbit, because that is the only way that we can do this. Now let's see, 300 kilometers. It's about the time where we might begin to see temperature increasing around the outer hull. Now, remind you, this part here is not protected against the atmosphere. It's the bottom part here that is. So, but let's see what happens when you go through the atmosphere. 100 kilometers. maybe nothing will happen. I'm not sure. We're definitely going to crash into the Earth. Yeah, now you can see. Oh, and we burned up. How funny. Yeah, and as you can see, the Angel is going into space. Alright, so, yeah, I'm going to turn off the video here with this nice image of the Angel going up into space. And then I'll see you in the next video, where I'm going to show you actually how we're supposed to do this. So, see you in the next video.